Hi, I'm Thor Lemon, and today I will be showing how to do the trap bar deadlift. So Samantha is going to be my client for this today. What the trap bar deadlift is it's a closed chain hip hinge movement using a specialty bar called a trap bar or a hex bar. So the primary muscles that we're going to be using for this are the hamstring, the gluteus maximus and medius, and then also the erector spinae. And then the secondary muscles we're going to be using are going to be our latissimus dorsi, our rhomboids, our upper and lower trapezius, our vastus medialis and lateralis, and then also our rectus abdominis. So the reason I chose it for Samantha is because she scored a 3 in the straight leg, active straight leg race during the FMS, and also we've been working together, so I know that she scored 90 on the MPI grading system for a sumo kettlebell deadlift with 80 pounds for multiple reps. So usually that's my precursor before we go to the trap bar deadlift. So what we're going to be doing for the trap bar deadlift is the way I cue it up for everyone is I have everyone find their hip bones. We're going to push the hips back just like we're trying to touch the wall behind us with our hips. We're going to drop the arms. We're going to squat down until you can grab onto the bar, and then all we're going to do is we're going to try to drive our feet through the floor, stand right up, squeeze in the butt, and come back down the same way. So starting position is going to be here for the preparation phase. We're going to go into the concentric phase standing up. It's going to be the central and top phase, and also the isometric phase at the top, and then the eccentric phase to the terminal phase right at the bottom. So 2 ways I've seen this done wrong is people looking up, because just like the push-up, you get that arching motion, and that puts a lot of strain on the lower back, especially in this hip hinge movement. And then also people bending their legs too much, so it turns more into a squat. So it's a lot about the hip angle, like where your hips are placed, and then also about just keeping everything in one straight line for good posture and standing right up. So the only contraindications for this is going to be, again, lower body extremity issues, and then also some hip issues. So depending on like if people have like shallow joints or anything like that, just something to consider for hip issues, or if they've broken their femur or pelvis, just for contraindications. So I'm now going to have her set up the same way. So is it okay if I put my hands on you, Samantha?
Yes.
All right. So where we're going to be palpating is actually going to be the lateral glute, and then also rectus abdominis. So the reason being for those is just to make sure that we have good glute activation, because that's going to be our primary driver. So if we want to think about like a gun theory, her hips going back is going to be cocking the hammer, glutes are going to be pulling the trigger, and then we want really good abdominal engagement the whole entire time, so we don't get that back motion and start pulling and compensating with our lower back. So I'm going to have her go do 5 reps right now. And have her just drop her hips just a little bit right there. Okay, and then as she stands up, we're going to go and tight glute to the top, and then I want you to squeeze a little bit right at the bottom too, Samantha. Squeeze tight. Good. Now I'm going to put my hands right at her stomach. Good. And then we're looking for it really just at the top, because if it's going to be loose abdominal engagement, you're going to see it all the way through. But it's just easier to palpate at the top versus trying to come up and underneath. So using the MPI grading system again is that out of 5 different categories, so out of a score of 100, we're looking for at least a 90. So what I'm looking for this is that proper muscle engagement, and then also good posture, so head, hips, back are in alignment from both down and when we're standing. And I'm also looking for this bar to be in line with the hips the whole entire time, the hips and the shoulders. So no forward motion, just everything nice and tight the whole entire time. So I'm going to be looking from the frontal, lateral, and posterior view. I'm going to have Samantha do 5 more reps. So right there, good. Good, and then prime, squeeze, good. And then head down just a little bit, right there, good. So once she can score a 90, and I usually look for like 45, like at least 45s on each side, depending on client, depending on history and everything like that. But once she can score a 90 on this movement, I would then progress her to a Romanian deadlift, which is just the top half of the movement. coming right here and coming right back up. I really like this move because it focuses on the weakest part of the deadlift, which is the lockout. And also it can be a little bit more strenuous on the abdominals and the glutes when you do it. So I usually like someone doing this where they learn the full activation. And then now that we know, okay, core's engaged, we're good to go, now we can put that extra strain. And then once you can do a 90 on that for the MPI grading system, I'll then progress her to the single leg Romanian. So same motion, but now we're testing it even further by having her stand on one leg. So it's a lot of stabilization of all the leg muscles and the posterior muscles when you do it. And that is the trap bar deadlift.